two-stroke smoke.
G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for clicking on my video. I really appreciate your support. So today we've got a big adventure planned. It's a bit of a drive outside the lovely little town of Erica, then past the Thompson Dam and beginning on Walhalla Road. We're going to tackle a few tracks, head high up into the mountains, check out some campgrounds around the area and see what mischief we can get ourselves into. We have 5 bikes out today, 4 KTMs, 2 200 EXCs all the way from 2006, 1 2021 250 and 1 2024 150 EXC. As for the 5th bike, 2017 Yamaha YZ250. That's just had some work done, so we need to help old mate run it in for the next couple hours. So grab your popcorn, sit back and enjoy the speed, skill, lack thereof, views, climbs and descents.
So this one's low saddle track. It's basically the first track you get out here, so it's probably going to be fairly overused, but slippy. So there's snow over to the right on top of the mountain, Mount St. Guinea. We're going to drive up there later in the car. Might record that, take us up there. But for now, it's all about the bike action. Probably be another video. Nothing like the smell of two-stroke until you do that. That's actually our crew. You cheeky bastard!
Nothing like a bit of bike stuff.
Have fun!
Have a good one.
The boys. That YZ's just been rebuilt. There's the dam. So on the cars we drove over that and I could see this track from the road. I might gotta hit that up.
So we'd made it to the end of the low saddle track without much fuss, but that creek crossing was a bit too deep to tackle today unfortunately. So we turned around and hightailed it back up the mountain and over the other side back to Walhalla Road. When we all gathered there, we came across one of the boys pacing in front of his bike, and I got that uh-oh feeling in my gut. Sure enough, he had jumped off a whoop, or a washout as they're professionally called, and landed awkwardly, throwing his head and chest right up against the handlebars. His right wrist had already started swelling in 2 spots, so it was time to limp back to the cars, help him pack up, and head home with the task of telling the missus what had happened. Poor guy. But it happens to the best of us. So after a bit of a break, we headed in the opposite direction up Walhalla Road, taking the fast-flowing fire break trails for a few kilometres, switching back and forth over the road, being careful not to intervene with any cars. Looking for a track I had driven in the 4-wheel drive once before, called Merrington's Track. It's more of a single-lane road that winds its way from the top of Walhalla Road down into a gully where a very popular Merrington's campground lay. So we'll go check that out, then hit a water crossing and some pretty cool tracks after that. Alright guys, so I'm just ripping through some fire break trails here on my 2006 KTM 200 EXC. And let me tell ya, this bike is still an absolute weapon. Lightweight, razor sharp, and that 2-stroke punch is just so addictive. You give it a little throttle and it just takes off. It's like riding a mountain bike with a motor, so nimble, so responsive. Now, for those who know, the 200 EXC is kind of a 2-stroke legend. It had that perfect balance, more torque than a 125, but way lighter and easier to manage than a 250 or 300. Whether you're into enduro, trail riding, or just carving up fire roads like this, it hits that sweet spot that not many bikes have since. But somewhere along the line, KTM started to shy away from the 200. They phased it out in favour of the 150s and 250s. And for a while it felt like the 200 was just a memory. Honestly, I always thought that was a bit of a shame. But here's the interesting part. With all the recent noise about KTM's financial struggles, there are rumours floating around about a 200 EXC revival in 2026-27. Apparently they're looking to reconnect with that faithful core fan base, the riders who miss the simplicity and raw fun of the bikes like this. If that's true, man, I hope they get it right, because there's still a huge place for a bike like this in today's market. So yeah, until that happens, I'll keep hanging on to this thing. It's fast, reliable, and every time I ride it, it reminds me why I love 2-strokes. At the start of Merrington's Track. It's more of a road than anything, so we're just going to fast forward down here and I'll show you the campsite. This is just your average weekend. Well, first one that had snow anyway in Victoria. I'm guessing that's why it was a bit busy. It's a great little camp spot, but you have to keep in mind there is going to be other campers there. There's a creek that runs around the back of it. It's got toilets, you can have fires, do whatever you want down there. There's 4-wheel driving just around the corner. Dirt bike riding, everything you want. I'll put a map up to show you where it is and then we'll head out to our first river crossing. Let's see what happens there.
Nice. Oh, he's going for it.
So here we are at our first river crossing. We didn't know what was going to be on the other side, but we were hungry for some more action after our Miss Daisy ride down and around the campsite.
Brave.
So our oldest and bravest member of today's crew, Ed, jumped off the bike, our hero, and walked into the icy cold waters of the Aberfeldy River to check the depth. When I say icy cold, I mean the water has just come down from the mountain, from the snow, so I'm not joking about how cold it is. Honestly, I was quietly nervous about this, as I've ridden for a fair few years but never really tackled any crossings quite as large as this. But, one in, all in, I say. So Ed headed off first and gave me even more to think about, as it looked to get quite deep over the other side just before you come out of it. Next was Lee, who also slipped through without much struggle. When I looked over to old mate next to me, with his phone out recording, I knew, and he knew, that there was a fair chance something could go wrong here. Anyway, it was my turn. Packing my suitcase, I went for it. Nervous as all get out, I let my thoughts and worries take control and just completely lost any confidence I had to point and shoot this thing. So a few slips and bumps later, I started heading down the creek instead of across it.
Fucked. I don't know.
So, with me standing hip deep in the water and the tailpipe just sitting on top, the old man didn't hesitate to jump back in and help me get this thing out of the water. Unfortunately, for his good deed, he was repaid in wet pants and jocks after falling for the rest of the ride. And again, it was freezing. So huge thanks to Ed for never even thinking about if he was going to come in and help me or not.
Ah, fucking idiot.
Anyway, after a quick try to roll start the old girl, we quickly realised there was water in the top end. Now we were met with the task of taking the seat, tank and pulling the spark plug out. Tip the bike upside down, kick it over till there's no more water coming out.
That's all of the rocks just made of like these vertical slabs.
That's where I tried to go swimming. Spark plug out, tipped it up, got the water out, ready to go. What's that song? There goes my heroes.
With the air filter ringed out and the bike as dry as we could get it, I gave her a kick, and she started up like I didn't try and turn her into a boat. What a bike.
And it seems to be okay.
So with the gearbox oil like a milkshake, we went on, and the 200 did not give me one complaint, knowing full well I had some work ahead of me once I got home to make sure this thing keeps happy and healthy. A good motto to live by with motorbikes is maintenance before repair. So let's head up this mountain and just wait and see the views that await us at the top.
Alright, I think we're nearly back to the creek. Feet are already wet, so it doesn't matter. I think we're still a fair way from the car, so... Not this time, Satan!
What a day. I honestly can't wipe the grin off my face right now. Earlier I managed to flood my KTM 200 trying to cross this creek behind me, completely soaked, bike cut out, the whole deal. But after some effort, some drying out, and a bit of determination, I made it back across. Clean, smooth, and absolutely buzzing with pride. If you've ever drowned your bike in a creek, you'll know that sinking feeling, pun intended. When the engine cuts out and you're standing there in the water just thinking, what now? Luckily I had the gear, the tools, and a bit of know-how. Took a bit of time to get it started again, but that feeling when it finally fired back up, man, that's why we ride. Today wasn't just about testing myself, it was also a reminder of how wild and beautiful this place is. Victorian high country has some of the most incredible off-road riding in Australia. From high ridge lines to river crossings like this one, it's raw, rugged and full of surprises. If you've never been up here, you're seriously missing out. One of the gems in this area is Aberfeldy, a historic little town tucked away in the high country. Back in the 1850s, Aberfeldy was a gold rush hotspot, full of miners chasing fortune and carving out a life in the bush. These days it's quiet, but you can still see the remnants of the past, old diggings, ruins and stories in the landscape. What I love is how it all blends, the history, the trails, the views, and that sense of being way out there. It's not just a place for riders, campers, hikers, four-wheel drivers. Everyone who loves the outdoors can find something epic up here. So yeah, flooding the KTM wasn't exactly in the plan, but I wouldn't trade today for anything. It pushed me a bit, reminded me to respect the terrain, and left me stoked that I kept going. If you're into exploring, testing yourself, or just chasing that feeling of being alive out in the bush, I can't recommend the Victorian high country enough. Come out, ride smart, explore places like Aberfeldy, and make some memories you won't forget. Thanks for watching. Hit like if you've ever drowned your bike and lived to tell the tale. Drop a comment with your favourite riding spots. Don't forget to subscribe for some more adventures, and I'll catch you on the next ride. Ride safe.